Shut up and sit down.
Hey, I'm Simon.
I'm Ellie.
And if you like our videos, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and mash that bell thing over there, or just hit it once. Either is very, very kind of you indeed. And as usual tonight, we are surprising each other with movie trailers that the other person has not yet seen, and filming our reactions.
So what do we have next?
Well, next up, we have one of those movies that pre-COVID, when we were actually hosting in-person events at a local cinema, we would see trailers for this again and again and again, and it was very, very imminent. And yet, like everything else over the last year, it got delayed due to COVID-19. Now, this is a movie called In the Heights, a story by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who you probably best know for Hamilton. The guy is an absolute musical genius. This movie looks to be no different, but the original trailers really didn't tell us too much about what this movie is about. I hear that there's a new trailer out on the streets, and Lin-Manuel Miranda describes this as being a beautiful story about change. And who doesn't like a beautiful story about change? So I say we check out the new trailer, I haven't seen it either, for In the Heights. Hang around until afterwards and we'll let you know what we think about it, but for now...
Let's go!
Let's go!
Once upon a time, in a faraway land called Washington Heights. Say it so it doesn't disappear.
Washington Heights!
Lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day. I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. Pop the grate at the crack of dawn, sing while I wipe down the awning.
Hey, y'all, good morning.
Ice cold piragua, cherry, strawberry, and just for today I got my mate.
It's a story of a block that was disappearing.
The genius is back!
Yo, here's your chance, ask her out right now. Hey!
There's something on your shirt.
Smooth operator, all damn.
We all had a sueñito. And when it came to dreams, we had to keep scraping by.
Maybe this neighborhood's changing forever. Maybe tonight is our last night together, however.
I just want to see the whole world through her eyes.
They're talking about kicking out all the dreamers. It's time to make some noise.
We had to assert our dignity in small ways. Little details that tell the world we are not invisible.
This is the moment when you do better than me. Because you can see a future that I can't.
We go, we rap for people and let me go!
You made all of this?
This is me.
They used to say, if you work hard, you live by the rules, the money will come, the things will come.
You ready?
I've been saving up all my pennies in my piggy bank for this day.
Today's all we got, so we cannot stop. This is our block. In the Heights, I hang my flag on display.
Cheers.
It reminds me that I came from miles away. This is crazy. From miles to the heights.
The best days of my life. And I built my little dream, my sueñito.
In the Heights, the late nights, you taste beans and
Here.
rice. The sun up a shade ice.
Washington Heights.
Put out the street lights. We're taking the flight to a couple of days in the life for what it's like in Washington Heights.
So, we are finally getting In the Heights, which we've been looking forward to for more than a year at this point. Oh, wow. What, before I start babbling, what did you think of it?
Visually stunning, of course. And we know Lin-Manuel Miranda that the songs are going to be really bops. So we got that too. Going to be stuck in your head forever. Everyone's going to download the soundtrack and be listening to it on repeat for a million years.
Yeah, you know, to me, there's something so important about this movie, and we live really, really close to Washington Heights. Like, you can be there in 10 minutes from our house.
Walking.
Yeah, you were in hospital there for ages once, which was not a fun experience, but it is a really interesting area. And like most cities, like Manhattan has become very expensive, gentrified. Even places like Harlem are becoming a lot more upmarket, a lot more expensive and more gentrified. So, you know, the poorer people are having to move out. But what that means is that you do get these pockets that are really, really ethnically diverse. You get lots of Hispanic people, you get different people from different African nations there. Just incredible food. Even just walking down the street, you hear so many different languages and so many different accents and so many different colors of people. And like, even to the whitest of white people that we are, it's just an amazing place to be in that kind of a melting pot and to see all of those kind of cultures. And, you know, it really reminded me that we did the interview with the Finding Ohana cast recently where we were talking a lot about representation and how representation matters. And I think, like, the most important thing about this movie is showing real life for real ethnically diverse people in Washington Heights. I think that is, like, goal number one. Doing it in a really upbeat musical way as well, I think is fantastic. Like, nobody wants to watch a movie with a political agenda rammed down their throats, but if you make these beautiful movies that just tell a really positive story and include representation and really positive, progressive messages, like, all the better. Like, I think it's such a powerful thing to create something like that. And somebody like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who has the ability to amplify that message through his own stardom, and the kind of cast in this as well. Like, this isn't an indie project to try to send a message. This is a huge, huge budget movie, which will hopefully be one of the blockbusters of the summer. Literally, the news today is that it just moved up a week, and cinema and theatre owners are celebrating because they're finally getting a summer blockbuster in June. So it may even, as well as, you know, the representation that matters for the people, I think it may actually help bring theatres back and reopen this country, which is amazing. But I think the thing that we learned through Finding Ohana as well is there will be people who know nothing. You know, most people won't even know where Washington Heights is. Most people won't know anything about the type of people who live there. And clearly, like, we live 10 minutes away. There will be a lot of really important things we learn about that culture. So you get that kind of double whammy of people feeling like, wow, like, I'm finally seeing people like me on the big screen. And then you get other people who are like, wow, I'm learning about cultures and people that I had no idea even existed on the big screen as well. So I just think it's such a positive thing to create this kind of a movie.
And I like that they have chosen to highlight how fragile things are when you're an immigrant too. That and even though these aren't immigrants themselves, it sounds like a lot of them are dreamers. So their parents are immigrants, but they're actually born in America, and it's only kind of fragile politics that is keeping them here, and how scary that situation is when you don't know from one day to the next whether you'll be deported. You know, just like one swipe of a pen from someone in DC and suddenly you aren't able to stay in America anymore, and you have to go back to a country that you've probably never visited because you weren't born there and you know nothing about it. But I liked it that they highlight that side of things, and you know that clearly the main character is living the American dream. He's got his business that he's running, and you know, from the looks of it, he's at risk of being deported.
Well, not quite. So the main character in this, the storyline is actually, and I really, really like this spin on it, the storyline is actually that he inherits a good amount of money from his grandparents, and he has the option to just go and retire in the Dominican Republic and just sell up his bodega in Washington Heights and just leave. So this is actually about his battle with, should I go to the Dominican Republic? I mean, who wouldn't want to be there? Like, especially if you're Spanish speaking. I mean, it looks like an absolute paradise, and he can live there for the rest of his days in luxury, versus do I stay in Washington Heights and run a bodega? And I actually really like that. Like, the guy is in a place of privilege where he can choose, and he's now trying to choose between this kind of paradise versus the life he has now, which I'm hoping he finds that life that he has now is actually a paradise in its own right. And like you said, the songs, I mean, come on, like, who wouldn't like this kind of music? I guess regardless, like, I'm a heavy metal fan, I don't listen to pop music, but wow, the songs in this sound pretty incredible to me as well. So I think this is going to be an absolute runaway blockbuster this summer, and I hope so, because, like I said, this is a story that needs to be told, makes people feel represented, and, you know, especially at the time it was made in 2020, was a really, really important message then, but still a really important message now. Life is really, really hard for every kind of immigrant, both legal and illegal, and these are all human beings. These are all people who are just trying to get along. They've all got parents and brothers and sisters and kids and jobs, and they're just people. So, you know, treating immigrants like statistics just drives me crazy. And I hope this country's now going to be getting further and further away from that. And I hope In the Heights is one thing that just gets people thinking about the immigrant experience and life for minority people in this country and how hard it can be for them. So, wow, just made it super political, but just park that for a minute. But yeah, In the Heights, I think either way, it's going to be a blast to watch. It seems to have romance and drama and amazing music and dancing, and what else could you want from a movie?
I think the main tone of the movie, from what we're seeing in the trailers, is joy as well. So I feel like it's such a powerful thing to show the joyful side of things too. Like, you know, it's fragile, but, you know, finding the joy in kind of everyday life. And I like that too. There's just a really powerful kind of optimism with it.
Yeah, and that's true. And I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda, like I said, described this as a beautiful story of change. But every time I've interacted with people in that area of New York, I've always just been blown away by their friendliness, their hospitality, their optimism. So I think this movie may conjure and bring some of that to the big screen, and if so, all the better. But either way, I am feeling the love for In the Heights. I'd forgotten how much I wanted to watch it, actually, because it's been so long since we've seen a trailer. But now we can see this movie in 3 months. Not long at all. So there you go, friends. We're feeling good over here at Nerd Safari about In the Heights. May even take a run down to Washington Heights just to remember how much we like it. But either way, we will see you again very soon, because you know we'll be back soon on the next Dork Trailer Ambush.
Peace out, nerds.
Peace out, people. Bye.
Shut up and sit down.